immaturity can place somebody in a place of bondage or servanthood. Even though the person has all the rights to rule over something or to have dominion over something, because of that immature behavior, the person will now rather be a servant over even whatever that he has control over. From the book of Galatians chapter 4, the verse 1, you see the scriptures make us to understand. In the book of Galatians chapter 4 verse 1 says that, now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all. That word child is derived from the Greek word nepios. And then nepios means immaturity. In the Christian world, an immature Christian, a childish behavior, someone who does his things like a child. So then, even though he is Lord of all, even though he is in control, because of that childish behavior, the person is no different from a servant. The person will be treated exactly as a servant because of immaturity. From the verse 2, you will see that, but is under tutors and governors until the appointed time of the father. So even though a father loves his or her child so much, because the person is a child, okay, the person has to go through the ministry of tutors and governors. What is the role of the tutors? The tutors is to bring the person into development in the area that God has called the person. A tutor is somebody who will help you in a specific area of your life, either be it your calling, your gifting, and then even your assignment. That is what the tutor does. And then the governor is someone who will let you understand the do's and the don'ts, the acceptable and the non-acceptable. And these tutors and these governors, God intentionally placed them in our lives so that when the appointed time for him to work fully with us, they would have done the work, they would have prepared the way, they would have mentally, spiritually, intellectually developed you into the area that you have been assigned to do. So then from the verse 3, you will see that the Bible says that even we, when we were children, were in bondage under the element of this world. So you see that even though the children, they have all the powers that the Father has placed in them, but because they were children, they were living in bondage because they didn't have the capacity to be able to free themselves. They didn't have what it takes because there was no tutor or governor to even guide them in the place that they have been called to be. They don't have it. A tutor and a governor, sometimes you may find one person playing the role of the two. And then sometimes you may have a spiritual parent doing that. But in some cases, your tutor and then your governor will not be the same as your spiritual mother or your spiritual father. They may be different people that God will bring in your life. All forms part in the process that God takes an individual, especially a trailblazer, especially a child of destiny. From the book of Luke chapter 15, from the verse 11, you will see the story of the prodigal son. And you see that even he being a heir to the father, you see that he took his portion of his inheritance, went to a far country and squandered everything which was given unto him. Then in the story, you will realize that there was a famine and he began to be in lack and want. And he being in lack and want, he was now feeding from the food that the pigs eat. And later on, when he came to himself, he said, I have to go to my father, because how much Because how many servants do my fathers have who even eat bread from my father's table? I will go back and be as one of the servants. You will see that a heir is now becoming a servant. That is what happens to immature people. You will see that now demons, evil spirits, the devil will begin to torment them because they don't know their place in the kingdom. Romans make us to understand that we are joint heirs with Christ. We are heirs of God. But if you don't know the place that the Father has placed you, and then you are walking in the level of immaturity, even that which God has given to you, you can't even use them. It is like somebody holding a torchlight and the person is walking in darkness. You holding a torchlight and walking in darkness, it is a clear sign that you are immature. That is where the bondage comes in. That is where the person now goes into slavery. So, God bringing tutors and governors, your role as the child of God is to humble yourself so that they take you through the process that the Father has for you. And when you do what is not right, they have the tendency to correct you in the acceptable way of the Lord. Humility is the key here. Humility is what you need in this stage. And then when you get there, the Father can now trust greater things into your hands. And even He can make you a frontliner. That is where you now lead people. But until then, when you rush, you now come into a place that is why even in the church, okay, we have immature leaders leading immature congregation, and now this will now develop into immature town, and now it will take over, and that's where you will see immorality everywhere, because even they don't even have good foundations. Their foundation is weak. Being able to read the Bible doesn't make you a spiritual mother or a spiritual father, but then you have to be accountable. Who are you accountable to? Who is your tutor? Who is your governor? Who is helping you? Where are you going? Where you are? What is the next step? What is the next destination? What is the goal? What is your purpose? What is your assignment? What are you doing? What is your core values? You have them. And as I said earlier on, humility will now bring you to the place that the Father has prepared for you. And that will give even the Father the green light to trust a lot of things into your hands. Because in that state, you are no longer a child. You are no longer under bondage. You are no longer under slavery. But now you are now a son. And now you have recognized your kinship. That is, you being a heir to the Father. And then the Lord can work hand in hand with you, so that you'll be able to accomplish His vision, to accomplish His purpose, to even accomplish the assignment that He has placed upon your life.